Yesterday, the preseason AP top 25 poll was announced, so let's go ahead and take it to three teams that I think were overrated and three teams that I think were underrated in this poll. And we'll start off with the overrated teams, and first up is Florida State at number 19. FSU is replacing a coach who brought them a national championship, and that is never easy. After Jimbo Fisher's departure to Texas A&M, Willie Taggart was hired to lead the Seminoles back to prominence. And even with Fisher, Florida State struggled in the ACC last year, finishing 3-5 and 7-6 overall. Yes, quarterback DeAndre Francois is returning after injuring his leg last season, but he's yet to prove himself to be a stable presence in that Seminole locker room. Up next, OU at number 7. Now, the Sooners do have the tools to be a contender once again this season, but putting them at number 7 seems a little bit too high for me. Baker Mayfield was arguably the reason Oklahoma got as far as they did in 2017, and now the reins are being handed to baseball prospect Kyler Murray. The defense will also have to improve, but this team is going to take the next step. And while Oklahoma may be a top 25 team the entire season, being ranked in the top 10 with all the talent they lost is a little bit too much. And lastly, we have Mississippi State at 18. Dan Mullen left the Bulldogs program in good shape before moving on to Florida, but maintaining success in Starkville is never easy in the best of circumstances, and with a killer schedule necessitated by competing in the SEC West, matching their 18 starting point might be a tall order for the Bulldogs. But I want to know from you guys, who do you think was the most overrated team in the AP preseason top 25? I only named 3, and I had a hard time narrowing it down to just those 3, so please toss out your comments in the comment section below or hit me up at LanaBondSports on Twitter and let me know what you think. Let's move on now to the underrated teams in the AP top 25, and we'll kick it off with Auburn at number 9. Now, Auburn very well could contend for the SEC this season as well. One of the better starting quarterbacks in the country is returning, and the team has one of the best defensive lines and linebacking core in the country. Yes, Auburn lost the SEC championship game and the Peach Bowl to UCF last year, but this team should be at least in the 5-7 range with what they have returning. Next up, the Stanford Cardinal at number 13. Head coach David Shaw has turned Stanford into a legitimate contender in the Pac-12. The face of the Cardinals, running back and Heisman Trophy candidate Bryce Love. 9 projected starters are also returning on offense, including quarterback KJ Costello. And while the defense struggled at times last year, they were young and they are all returning for 2018. For the big-time Heisman candidate, this team should be ranked at least number 10 in this AP poll. And lastly, we have the self-declared 2017 champs, UCF, at number 21. Now, a repeat of last year's dream season would clearly be asking too much for this team, but even with a new head coach, there are enough veteran Knights on the roster who know how to win to keep the goal of an AAC title more than realistic. Should that happen, UCF's final pool position will almost certainly be higher than its number 21 preseason spot. All right, guys, I have to ask you, who was the most underrated team in this preseason AP Top 25 poll? Get those comments in the comment section below or hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at LanaBondSports. And just to go ahead and recap for you guys, here were my 3 overrated teams. Oklahoma at number 7, Mississippi State at number 18, and then Florida State at number 19. And then my 3 underrated teams, Auburn at number 9, Stanford at number 13, and UCF at number 21. All right, guys, that was Quick Hitters. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.